An old man had 3 sons. He was wealthy, but he was worried that his sons would splurge all of his savings after he was dead. So he wanted to test them to figure out who he was going to leave most of his wealth to. So he called his 3 sons and he gave a silver coin to each of them. He told them to invest it in a way that would ensure a bright future and fill a room. The eldest son bought sacks of cotton and filled the entire room with it. The middle son bought loads of hay and kept it in the room so he could feed the cattle for months to come. The youngest son bought a candle and lit it in a room so that its light could fill the entire room. And the youngest son also bought a book as he believed that knowledge helped ignite minds. Now, impressed by his youngest son's understanding of the value of knowledge, the old man obviously decided that he was going to leave all of his wealth to the youngest son, and he asked him to guide his brothers also on the right path after he died. Now, just like the story where there are 3 boys who each got a silver coin and they made different uses of them, the real world too has loads of countries, and each one of them gets very interesting resources at the beginning of their journey. How each one of them use their respective resources decides whether people in that country are rich and happy or not. Hi, you're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast about current affairs. In today's episode, we track the story of 2 countries that each started with something like a silver coin. Actually, one of them had a slightly bigger silver coin than the other. And in the course of this episode, we'll see what each of these countries made of their silver coins that they got at the beginning. And I'm Sangeeta, the host of this podcast, What's New Today. In every episode, I'm joined by a curious young co-host, and together we chat about the story at hand. In this episode, I'm joined by a young 10-year-old from Kolkata.
I am Devansh Bhojnagarwala. I live in Kolkata. I study in class 5 Lakshmipat Singhania Academy.
Welcome, Devansh. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be discussing how 2 countries that started somewhat similarly have today grown and become very, very different. I won't be giving you the name of the country upfront, and I don't need you to guess which country I'm talking about also. We're going to be unraveling the story in the course of our conversation. And what we will simply do is take guesses about what you think would happen in each one of these cases. And at the end, we'll see where things stand. And at the end, I will tell you the name of the country.
Can I also guess the name of the country at the end?
You don't need to, but if you want to, you can. Okay. So the year is, say, around 1950 or 1960.
Okay.
The Second World War is over. The world is beginning to grow rapidly. Cars have become very common. Aeroplanes have also become more common. People are buying motorbikes. Lots of different countries in the world are drilling under their soil and are discovering oil, crude oil. Do you know what crude oil is?
Yes, it can be turned into petroleum, kerosene, diesel, gas, cooking gas, paraffin, and wax. So many things.
I think you've memorized the whole list on Wikipedia. That's wonderful. That whole list that you gave, yeah, you can use it for a ton of different things. There is one country which has got loads of crude oil, truckloads of crude oil. It's one of the richest in crude oil in the world. I won't tell you which one it is. And then there's another country which is slightly lesser crude oil. So now tell me, would you rather live in country 1 which has got truckloads, or country 2 which is slightly lesser crude oil? Which one would you like to live in?
Both are okay because you said that they earn their living from it. Country 1 will be significantly richer, but I think country 1 will be better still.
Wonderful. So for now, we've chosen the one with more crude oil deposits because the chances of us becoming richer if we lived in that country at that point in time is a little higher, right?
Yes.
Fabulous. Okay, now we'll move forward a few years. So now country 1 is earning a lot of money. Country 2 is also earning a lot of money. We now come closer to 2000. In 2000, what happens is country one has elected a new leader. And this new leader believes that this country needs to be run in a slightly different manner. What he decides is he's going to take a lot of the oil money and he's going to give more of them to the poor. He's going to give them some free food, lots of other freebies. That's what he's going to give the poor. He also believes that the workers in their factories all should have equal rights, or at least definitely better rights than what they've had so far. Country 2 does none of this stuff. All this oil money country 2 takes and it invests in a fund. And that fund says, okay, all this money is sitting in this fund, and that fund will start investing in factories. People will grow more food. So, this fund is going to invest in all these things. It's not going to give anything to the workers, no better conditions for workers, no freebies for the poor. Now, you're sitting in 2000. Which country would you like to live in?
Hey, country one.
Still country one.
Yes.
Why?
Because there are better conditions for workers, so there will be more happiness in the country, and for example, the workers might not protest. For example, in country 2, what might happen? The workers are getting low wages, but that is their only way to get money, so they might protest to get higher salaries and wages. So that could cause a problem.
All right. Story is now going to get a little trickier, Devansh. We'll move forward. The year is 2003. Now, country one has a small problem. The workers in country one have gone on a strike. They are very unhappy with the way they've been treated by the owners of the factories, because now the leader is giving them a lot of support. Remember, so country one workers have gone on a strike. Oil production has pretty much come to a halt. Now, country one so far has been earning a lot of oil money, but it does not have any food that it grows inside. There are no factories that manufacture clothing or any such thing. So, whenever country one has needed anything, it has always had to import or buy it from the other countries from outside. But now, because there's not much oil money left in that country, so the government steps in. The government does not want the people to suffer. There's something called a foreign exchange rate, which means each time they'll have to buy something from, let's say, the United States, they will have to pay in the United States dollar. But when country one doesn't have enough money, its currency becomes very weak. So the government has to protect the poor people, because with the weak currency, they cannot buy enough food. So it steps in and says, look, we will control the foreign exchange. So whatever rate we declare, that is going to be the rate. That way, nobody will panic, nobody will suffer. The government will use gold and all that and protect the poor people. In country two, the workers, like you rightly said, never protested because they didn't have any voice to protest that much. Life went on normally. They continue to earn oil money, continue to invest in various industries, growing their own food, things like that. 2003, would you change your mind, or would you still like to live in country one or country two?
Country 2.
Why?
Because now the situation has changed a lot. Country 1 is now not better, not looking good. It's in the grave face of danger. Like as you said, no, all the workers went on strike, so there is very less money. If there is no petroleum, if there is no oil being exported, then how will it get money? So country 2.
So for now, it's country two you're shifting. Okay. Okay, the strike doesn't continue for too long. Strike stops soon after, couple of years or so. And once again, country one has started extracting a lot of oil. And that has again helped them become quite rich. Life is back to normal. Country two remains what it was. Again, life is normal in both countries. Again, country one remains one of the world's largest oil exporters, Between the two, would you like to make a shift, or would you still like to live in country two only for now?
I think country 2 because there is basically no difference right now. So country 2 only.
But remember, country one has far more oil than country two. You still would like to live in country two?
Yes, because country 2 has no history of protest, and there is very less chance of that happening. And even if even if it has a lesser amount of oil, that doesn't matter. It's okay. It's a safe country. Nothing dangerous can happen here, which happen there, which can lead down to the economy of the country.
What did you think was dangerous about country one that had happened?
The strike of the workers.
Oh, you're
That
saying
was
if
dangerous because the economy went down low, and you said it went for a couple of years, but it stopped. So it could happen that it could happen again.
so you're saying people, workers in factories, if they fight for their rights and they go on a strike, it's not a good place to live in.
But then then they will not work, so that is dangerous for the country.
All right, I can see the beginnings of a capitalist in Devansh. All right, now we'll move forward. Year 2014. Till now, life's wonderful in both countries. Okay, lots of oil money flowing in. But remember, country two has continued to invest all of its money in a fund where it's growing, investing and growing other industries. Country one still has a leader who has kept a very tight control over the foreign exchange rate so that they protect the poor from them having to pay too much by way of foreign exchange for food and for clothing and even basic necessities. So, country one still has a very tight control on its foreign exchange. Okay, but
Can I ask you a question?
yeah, ask.
What happens if country 2 is continuously investing in that fund? What is the cause and effect of that?
So, if a country has lots of money and it starts investing in a factory that will produce t-shirts, a factory that makes toothpaste, building a lot of schools, or a factory that makes cars, can make a lot of things, or maybe set up huge wind energy farms. It's a country that's investing in all of these things. So, what do you think will happen when all these things are invested in?
The country will basically be fully balanced in everything, not only in crude petroleum extracting. As country 1 is only giving money to the poor, and they're not wasting their money, I should say, but they should hold on to their money and follow country 2.
They should
So
also invest.
country 2 I think will have more money in the future.
Oh, that's what you're saying? Okay, let's see how this story unravels. We're now in 2014, and pretty much like what you had predicted has happened in both the countries. That for country two, while it has lesser income from oil, it has invested in so many different industries that it starts earning money from other sources also. Country one still is potentially one of the world's richest countries, but it's dependent entirely on oil money, and it has not invested in anything inside its country to make anything for itself. By and large, whatever they need, they go outside and they got to import all of those things. Now, in 2014, what happened was the oil prices worldwide collapsed. It nearly halved. So, for every 1 barrel of oil that country one and country two sold, they were getting only half as much in 2015 as they got in 2014. Now, country one has very less money, so does country two, right? What do you
No,
think
country 2 has
happens?
more money. Country 2 has more money
How is
because
country?
because they invested in the other industries. They are now getting money from there, and they are still getting much less money from oil. So it is good for them. They saw what could be coming in the future, and they played smartly.
They did, certainly. Now, on top of all the mistakes that Country One had done, the leaders of Country One in the last 10 odd years, they not only mismanaged the money, on top of all of this, they were a very corrupt bunch of people. And when I say corrupt, what it means is the leaders of the country and their families and their friends, they took most of the oil income that was flowing into the country and they took it away for personal reasons. So a few people in country one became really rich. They had these massive mansions with huge swimming pools and truckloads of cars and all the wealth you can imagine in the world. And the rest of the country, while they kept telling the people we are giving you freebies and this and that, the rest of the country became poorer and poorer and poorer. Whereas country two took the entire wealth of the country. No few leaders were able to take any big fat sum of money and become unduly rich. Entire sum was invested in a fund, and that fund, sought to invest in various industries and growing food, so that income again became distributed amongst all the people equally. I mean, I know you took the smart call. You shifted from country one to country two about 15, 20 years ago, Devansh. So you played it safe. And I think you're in the right place in country two. But what are the things that you would go back to the leader of country one and tell them if you could get into a time machine and go back 20 years?
I would tell them, first thing that I would tell them, that you're managing the country wrong. Then I would ask them one thing first. What do they think they will gain by taking all that oil money? If they are if they are elected the leader of the country, then they should think for not only their benefit but also the leader of the benefit of the country. If the country does not grow, people will think it is the leader's fault, and it will be, obviously. If the leader wants to take money, take this much money, distribute this much money, invest some money. If they do not build other industries such as clothes and foods, then they will not be able to produce those things, and the economy will just die.
Yeah. So in the 1950s, this country, that country one that we were talking about, in fact, it was the fourth largest economy in the entire world.
What?
Yeah. Which brings us to unraveling the names of these two countries. Do you now want to take a stab and guess?
I have already guessed. I know Saudi Arabia and Democratic Republic of Congo.
Do you think?
Saudi Arabia. I
Mm.
think Saudi Arabia was. I know Saudi Arabia was the first country. I have read about it. I can show you the booklet of EVS. No, SSC. We are learning about it currently, and in there it is written they had to buy everything from other countries. Nothing is grown there. It's a barren desert land where so much petroleum is found. I know Saudi Arabia is the first country. I
What
cannot
about
decide.
the giving freebies to the poor part?
No,
That didn't
they
happen
must.
in Saudi Arabia.
No,
Yeah. So it is not. Country one is not Saudi Arabia.
wait, let me think.
And do you think country two, which is Democratic Republic of Congo, has really done a fabulous job of investing
Yes,
money and
yes.
ensuring the people there
It
are
could be Democratic Republic of Congo because I also read about it in SSC booklet. Um, it
and
is rich. It is not that rich, but it is rich in oils, and it is so rich in minerals: diamond, silver, zinc, manganese, copper, iron, coal, and natural gas. All these are found. So I think it could be Democratic Republic of Congo, and it also is written that it is one of the developing nations of the world. And
okay, I'll give you a clue. Country two does not. Country 2 is not as rich in all of these minerals that you were talking about. I'll give you a third clue. The two countries that you've mentioned, first country Saudi Arabia is in Asia, second one is in Africa, and the country 1 and country 2 are in neither of these two continents.
Okay, let me think.
Shall I give you the name of the countries?
No.
No? You want to guess? Okay, then let me give you a clue. Country 1 is in South America. Its name starts in V.
I already know it. Venezuela.
Yes, country 1 is Venezuela. It's considered the world's most mismanaged economy. It is one country that had the potential to be way richer than China, way richer than India, nearly as rich as the United States. It's lost all of it, and today the country is in utter poverty, chaos. People have hardly any food. It is in such a bad shape, Venezuela. Country 2 is in Europe. Its name starts in N, and it is not very far from the Arctic region.
Norway.
Yes, it is Norway.
I never knew Norway had oil.
Norway is super rich in oil. But after 2014, when the prices of oil had collapsed, Norway also lost some of its income. But unlike Venezuela, the economy has not collapsed for all the wonderful reasons we just discussed so far. How did you like today's story?
Interesting. I never knew. I knew that Venezuela was a country, but like such a dark history.
With that, should we wrap up today's podcast with a quiz with 3 questions?
Yes.
Yes, all right.
When did the story start?
So we started the story in the 1950s.
In which year did the prices of oil collapse?
2014.
Correct. Why is Venezuela called one of the most mismanaged countries in the world?
That's a tough answer. Well, for starters, they did not use their big fat oil income intelligently, like they did not invest in growing food and or developing their own industries. They depended entirely on imports. Is that a good enough answer for now?
Yes.
Thank you. So before we wrap up, leave our listeners with one recommendation of what you've really enjoyed listening to on this podcast channel.
Okay. There was one episode where episode season 2 episode 103 I think, where it was told like the health drinks, that why are they not healthy. That one I really like, that episode.
So after having heard that episode, are you beginning to be a little bit more careful about what you eat, what you drink?
I don't even drink. I have never drank whatever Horlicks and all.
You've never had Horlicks and Bonvita and all of that. Wonderful. You've got a very, very responsible mother already. So, yeah, for our young listeners or even older listeners, if you've not heard this episode, this is an episode about the claims made by these health drink companies and how one person on social media took on these health drink companies. So people have to be a little bit more careful when they are buying whatever they are buying. You shouldn't blindly believe all these claims about kids gaining height or kids becoming stronger or more intelligent, etc., etc. And the companies also have been forced to retract several of their claims that they've been making in their advertising. Thank you, Devansh. I'm glad you enjoyed that episode. I'm going to leave a link to that also in our show notes below. Also, we will be publishing our end of year magazine covering the greatest stories of 2024. It's perfect and easy to read for kids and adults, And if you're someone that likes to hold a book in your hand and read in printed form, you can pre-order your copy using the link in the show notes below. I had a lot of fun chatting with you, Devansh. How did you enjoy unraveling these stories of these two countries of Venezuela, Norway?
I enjoyed it because I didn't know much anything about these countries except for the name and where they are located. And I think I know the capital of Norway, but I don't. Yeah, Odegaard or something. I don't
Oslo.
know. Oh yeah.
When you're up to it, you can go and Google for what the capital of Venezuela is also. And if you know the answer, you can send me that via email at hello@wsnt.in. Thank you so much. If any of our young listeners would like to be a part of this podcast, just like how Devansh joined me, you can find a link to how you can register to be a co-host on this podcast channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.